Hello and welcome, I'm Mystical, this is Mystical Gaming. We're back into Watcher of Realms and we're going into the gear dungeon. I've been sitting back really and just letting the game tick on, and I really do need to start pushing my account. So, Gear Raid 1, the new Stage 5. If you're looking for the old Stage 5, which is now what, Stage 8, I think now they've rearranged the stages, not the video for you. If you are still progressing through them and you're up to Stage 5 or you're looking around that area, absolutely the video for you. Now I'm going to use, I would term as lesser heroes, but you use the ones you've got on your account. Okay, let's go into making up our team. The first thing we're going to want, or the first thing I'm using in our team, is the two new people. So I'm going to be using Honora and I'm going to use Daliana as well, because I think they're just brilliant. Really good champions. They've put into the game. They're essentially free. I run a free-to-play account. I got them both, so they're not an issue. I use an anti-heal. Use whichever anti-heal you like. Your favourite anti-heal. For me, I've got the choice of one. That's Lasser, so I use him. Now, the only thing about your anti-heal is make sure you speed tune them so that their healing is available when you need it, either with the legendary artifact or with boosting their rage somehow. So just make sure that you've got that sorted and squared away. Other than that, you need two healers, using Hollow and Vortex, because most people have got Hollow and Vortex. There are better healers available. If you've got better healers, go for better healers, because, well, why wouldn't you? So in future I will probably use some better healers than these two, but I feel that everyone should have these, and hopefully we can all progress and get some use out of this. Going forward with healers though, there is a healer that I've overlooked, I feel. So I might actually give her a bit more playtime and see what she's like. I do quite like the idea of her. The reason is I've sort of overlooked her because she only heals, whereas a lot of healers now, like even Midan, she heals and dispels. If you use Sadie, for example, she heals and gives mitigation. But there she is there. Now I haven't been using her. You see, she's only level 14, but she costs 6. 6, that's it. She only costs 6. When you need a healer, why don't you have a really cheap healer? Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, so right, moving on. So I'm going to use a tank as well. So that's the tank I chose simply because I had to build him up the other day for Guild Wars to put into my defence. Yeah. So I built him up and I wanted to use him, so I just chucked him in. But any old tank would do. They don't take much damage, but artifact wise I would stick in that Bastion artifact, so you've got it going on there. I then need either a tank or a fighter who is tanky, so Valk would be ideal, but I chose to use Abomination because I felt more people would have Abomination and the team would be more accessible to everyone going forward. So we used Abomination there. Now what else do we need in our team? Now I also need another AoE DPS. So in this case, I've chosen Abuso. But likes of Karmit, Boris, you could even use Nox quite happily. You can use Ajax. Yeah, any big DPS that you've got on the go. I mean, you could use Eloin. There's loads I haven't used because I wanted to keep the team as sort of as easy as possible. But Abuso does come with the fact that she's got a Lord skill. So let's not overlook that. But then that does give us 2 slots available left of team members we don't really need. So with using Abuso, that actually gives me space to use someone else. So with those 2 spots left, I would normally go, well, what have I got most of? And I'm going to use a Lord. Well, I've got Abuso, so she's going to give me 10% stats on everyone, which is going to be fantastic. If I didn't have her, I would then look for Lords to fit in. But as I do have her, I can look for different Lords to put in now. So I put in Wrath solely because he's a Lord and Abomination is going to get a bonus out of it. That's realistically it. So I'll still with this last space available. My 2 Lord slots have been taken, and it's a spare slot to do whatever I want with. This is why I chose a spare AoE DPS, and I chose Greed because he also slots in with the Wrath Lord bonus as well, because he's Cultist and Nightmare, so he fits into there quite well. So that's why we've used him as well. Now, we could have put him at the top if we didn't have another Lord up there or anything like that. So there are ways that you can fudge around this if you want to. So use the ones that you've got on your account. and I will get myself out of the way as we jump into the fight. I'll explain what's happening as we go along and why I've placed certain heroes in certain positions. That's all good stuff. And afterwards we'll have a look at their gear. I should be out of the way nicely there. We'll have a look at their gear and that sort of thing, and you can have a rough idea of how well I've had to gear them. Essentially, the worse the champion, the better the gear has to be. So there's definite payoff between one and the other. So just so you're aware, if you've got people like Carmit or Vienna, use them. Don't use the champions I've used. So I've gone straight in with a tank. I am using a tank in this one. So if I'm using a tank, then I've got to use an anti-heal. I'm using Lasser. Now, you have to make sure that your anti-heal does come round in time for you. So be aware of when you're using it and how long it takes to get round. If you are going to be using an anti-heal and you're having troubles with it coming back online, make sure that you're using, I'm going to be using a hollow. That's just taking up my slack. But there are things like that legendary amulet that's going to help you get a bit of rage back and speed up your ultimate run. That's what I fit my lasso with when I'm doing Gear Raid 2. And make sure that you fit them with a bit of speed, rage regen, so they can get their ultimates back. So just make sure you speed tune your anti-heal for what you require. Just have a look at what they're doing, when it's being triggered or when you need it to be triggered, and then think, well, actually I need a bit more, or I can get away with having a bit less. Right, next down is one of our free champions. I say free, she was on a limited summon. So she was unavailable for 250. I really like her. And the thing I like about her, Honora, is that she comes with an exclusive artifact, and they're all very good. So she's a good champion. She does AoE, which is what we need, and she has an exclusive artifact. Absolutely brilliant. And I assume most people have got her. Now, I've placed her down facing across a grid. I want her to have a longer range as opposed to a wider range, so to speak. So although I only get 3 squares, I do actually get them coming for I can start things a tile earlier than I would if she was facing up. So that's her. Now we're just waiting for get our healer on. I'm going to put a hollow down there, and again that's just to help with a bit of rage regen for our anti-healing, and that's essentially my bottom team made up now, sort of. I'm going to chuck in another DPS to help them out. Now here comes my next DPS for him. Look at this. Look at the range of it. She's beautiful. Look, from all the way down there. She even outdoes Ingrid. That is absolutely stunning, that range, all the way down. And she's going to help us out with a bit of extra DPS as well. So out of the 6 tiles she's hitting, 5 of them can have mobs on, and she does a little explosion around them on her ultimate. Absolutely brilliant. And again, she was free to get. You should have an exclusive artifact with her. Absolutely brilliant. So I trigger off the anti-heal here, and I trigger off Honora's ultimate as well. Now I want to trigger it early because I want it to finish as early as possible, because the sooner it finishes, that's my point where I trigger Hollow's ultimate to start getting some rage back. So if need be, start her before the mobs arrive so you can have it run out as soon as possible. Mine ran out a little bit late, if I'm honest, and I could have done with it running out a bit earlier. So while that's going on, we've now triggered Hollow's ultimate. In between that time, we had enough time to put down a Buzo. Buzo's going at the top. She's going to, our AoE mage, she's going to take care of those mobs that are going to spawn up there before they have time to do any damage. Allegedly. Let's move me a little bit higher. There we go. Probably a little bit better. Now I put down a healer because I've got to take care of Buzo. Buzo's going to have issues staying alive because we get the little archer come along, and they are just absolutely annoying, really annoying. Now the second group of waves of mobs coming along, I trigger on the set of mobs coming along. Well, there we go. Right, they're all dead now. I trigger Laura, her ultimate coming straight down, and I trigger the anti-heal, and that has enough DPS to actually not kill them out. So that's essentially how I do it there, and that is nice and easy, I think, relatively speaking. They're not fantastically geared, and the last person I put up on the top there to tank away any bits is Abomination for me. You can put down any tank, any tanky fighter. If you have got a fighter with straight up attack, they're not going to manage it. Now the next thing we've got happening is our archers coming along are going to take some flak here and start attacking Abuzo for us. Now we do need to keep healing up. This is where the healing comes from, because we do need to keep healing going. That's why I've taken Greed. If there's an accident there, and there is at times, I can slot in a greed and we are still good to keep rolling with that sustained AoE attack on those mobs up there. Now, down the bottom, we've got our ultimates coming back on and there's some more mobs about to arrive. Essentially, this is it now. This is our team. And as long as you can do the damage that you need to do, then your team is good. That is it. Once they're set up. So we can see the 2 mobs coming down. They're going to get taken out. And Abuso just finishes off those last 2 mobs in time. A little help from Daliana, and they are all sorted. We've got our Archer coming along again now, where we get the extra healing going on to Abuso just to keep her up, give her a shield. That's all good. Now, the bottom group coming along this time. This time I've gone with Daliana's ultimate again, and I'm going with the anti-heal. That's going to wipe them off. I'm saving my big AoE from Honora for the second group because their time's ticking down already, so I need to get on them as quickly as possible. And if I get any stragglers, I think this is my weaker of the 2 options as far as AoE's going. So if there's any stragglers get through on this one, I've got 1 or 2 left over, I will be able to clear them up on the next lot of AoE. So that's the theory behind it. I'm not sure if we get any left over. Going to be a tight little run, but we can get most of them down. Do we get them all down? 1 left to go. Yeah, there we go. Now, have a look at your anti-healer to see how long it is. I know Lasser's anti-heal is 15 seconds. So I've got 15 seconds to actually kill them off, and then they start healing themselves back up, and I haven't got the DPS to get over that. So I need to be aware of that. Now, coming around this time, Nora's ready to go and we should be able to trigger her off. I've already triggered Hollow's ultimate off. Try and get this anti-heal coming back round again because we need Lasser. There he is. He's up and running. We can get that off. Now, in the meantime, at the top, one of those cheeky little archers managed to take out Abuso. This is not a major problem. We can slot straight in with greed because we've brought a spare AoE DPS for whatever reason we may struggle with. Now the bottom's all clear, we can start removing everyone. There's no more coming from the bottom now. We're 51 out of 55 and we can see where they are. They're at the top there. Now we can start removing people if we have an issue. Because Abuso's dead and we've had to replace with greed, we've had a little bit of a time delay on the amount of DPS we can get down on someone. And at the top, we've got no anti-heal. So ideally we want them dead before they get over to our tank, which just isn't going to happen. Now we can trigger Daliana again and we can get as much damage done on them as possible. But when they start healing up for 200k or whatever it is, that isn't enough for us to get through. So we've managed to kill 2 of them off, but the last 2 are just going to stay there. Now luckily enough, they don't do a great deal of damage. It's fine. They're not just tickling the boss. Tickling Abomination. They're not doing anything. There's a major issue. So we've got time to put down our other DPS as it respawns. Now, I could have just rerun it and made sure that everything worked fine and that sort of stuff, but there's no point in just showing you perfect runs because it's not always perfect. Things do go wrong during your run. So when you can get rid of your heroes, get rid of them so they're ready to be redeployed again should you need to. So in this scenario I do need to, but it will work. I don't see any issues with it. It's just going to take another 30 seconds or a minute. I wish the game would surrender and say, yeah, okay, you've actually got me, because if the roles were reversed I would have done. But there we go. That's it done. There's a reward and that's 3-starred. So that's 3-starred, and this is my first time doing it, so congratulations to me, and there it is, first time reward. So all good there. I'm happy it's done, and I'm going to progress forward and do a few more of these. My next couple of videos on this sort of thing, I will probably be using things like my Valk. I'll be using Carmit because I've got him, and it's going to make this a lot easier. I haven't got good enough gear to make epics fully work through here. Right, gear-wise then. Let's get my fat head out of the way again. There she goes. That's the gear she's in. It's okay gear. I don't think it's too terrible. She's artifact wise. She's in exclusive artifact, obviously, and that is about it for her. There's Honora again. She's got her exclusive artifact on. Gear wise, yeah. Gear right. Sorry. Skills. Nora, she's got all of her skills done up pretty much with the exception of the last one. Whereas Honora's just gone up to dust level, so I haven't got any further than that with her really. I should do. Now this is her gear. Yeah, my most favourite and disappointing. Look at that crit rate. Variant Soulbound, I thought absolutely fantastic. Looked at it and he even liked the renewed vigour after being deployed for 60 seconds, increases basic attributes by 5%. I was like, this is absolutely brilliant piece. And then I looked at his crit rate. Oh, no. No, what a blow. Still, it is what it is. Right, so moving on. Lasser, he's been done up to dust as well, so that's all I've got on him. There's certain improvements you can be made. Now I use Tidal Ring on him. We're doing more damage occultist against people who have things got slow and that sort of stuff on them. It's got another chance to add on that effect, so it's just trying to snowball that effect on what we've got on him. There's his gear. I mean, he's got a set on it. It's not brilliant. They're all not all purple rolls and things like that and glowing as their ancients, but you run with what you've got on your account. Don't think you're going to be doing this if you've only been playing the game for a month, because you're still going to need to run and get all that gear. So epics wise, we used a Buzo. She was a previous Shard Summon event. I like her. I think she's an absolutely solid champion. She was really good when she came out. She's still really good now. She still provides that Lord bonus, and we've chucked on an artifact to help her out AoE wise. That is essentially all we've done with her. Now, Greed's got the same artifact on. Skills are all done with the epics, and then it's just chucking on the kit we've got. His gear, I've over crit rated him by quite some amount, to be honest. So, but what I generally try and keep 2 of the artifacts that I want to level up, because I find it's easier or better to have 2. Certainly when starting the game, I'd rather have 2 of those artifacts at level 10 than just 1 at level 13. So that's essentially what I've done there. Healer wise, now we've got Hollow in there. She's got a little speed artifact on, and gives out the invigoration buff. I could have timed it around the bottom to make sure the invigoration buff lands where I want. What's she doing with that on? That would need to be changed at some point. Still, too late now. Too late now, we've done it. Oh well, so that's her done there, and the other one, skills are all done because she's an epic again. Epic Vortex skills are all done. HP, speed, HP. Middle stat for me, healers pretty much always speed. Very rarely do I go against that. I just like my healers to be quick, especially these single target healers. They need to be getting out of that heal as quickly as possible, getting ready for the next person. Tank wise, we could have used any tank, but we actually plumbed on Regulus here. So we give him the Bastion Ring because it gives us another block. I think that is essential. How high it's leveled up isn't so much, but getting him done. So I chucked some dust in him earlier, and obviously they all landed in the basic attack, which is an absolute brilliant. So that's what he is. And then damage-wise, HP, and then it's a Guardian set to reduce the damage incoming for him. And that is about it for him. I think that's it. No, Wrath is left, isn't he? And that's Wrath and Abomination, isn't it? And that'll be it. Right, so Abomination's done up. He's in a mixed set realistically. He's just built he's generically tanky by himself anyway, isn't he? So I just chuck some attack gear on him. I chuck on the artifact to help him heal himself up, and that's the same that's on Wrath as well. So there you go. That's the team's pretty much made up. That's all I used. That's how I cleared stage 5. You can make it a lot easier for yourself. Just because I used the Buzo, if you've got Karmits out there, use a Karmit. He's loads better. He's going to clear that really easily for you. Okay? Don't be scared of using better champions than the one I've used. Don't go, oh, I saw a video, he used this champion, I've got to use it. No. AoE DPS is just AoE DPS. Use whichever one you've got, and whichever one works for you. So go with that theory. Healers, again, use your best and your favourite healer. You don't have to use Hollow, and you don't have to use Vortex. Use Eloin if you've got a. God's sake, make it as easy as you can for yourself. Don't try and make it hard work for yourself. I do it because I'm hoping that other people won't have all those champions. So theoretically, they might have some of them that they can slot into various places. Okay, right. Like I say, when I go on forward from this, I will be using better heroes. I'm sorry. I'm sort of, I think, dragging myself down trying to keep doing it with epics and lesser gear. So I'm going to push on. And the next one will probably be using Karmit, we'll be using Valk, that sort of thing. Okay, so sorry about that. Essentially, thank you very much for your time though. I'll be in a video again soon. Hope you found this helpful. If you could leave me the old thumbs up, like and subscribe, that would help me out more than you would actually know. It's absolutely really important to me. Thank you for your time. If you've got any comments, any suggestions, put them down in below. I always chat back, not an issue. Got plenty of time for you. So yeah, I'll see you all in the video again soon. Cheers then, goodbye.